What if I told you the most shocking reveal in One Piece history, the most awaited awakening for any devil fruit, still has another stage? Well, I think I've finally cracked the next step for Luffy, and how his awakening will become even stronger. His peak is just beginning, and Oda has purposely hid his true strength from us during his fight against Kaido. Don't believe me? Well, by the end of this video, you won't just agree, you will be convinced that Luffy's next stage is still waiting to be reached, and that the peak will not only come against Blackbeard, but also during the final war, to don one of the main symbols in One Piece, the sun. Well, let's break down probably the most overlooked part of Luffy's Gear 5 transformation. As Sun God Nika, wouldn't it make sense if his powers were actually stronger when the sun is out? Keep in mind, the entire raid of Onigashima was at night, and more specifically, under moonlight. Even the color of Gear 5 is able to show us this, as many of us thought that Gear 5 would be Luffy's normal colors, but with a bright yellow fire as hair. But in reality, it was completely white. For a while, this white form of Luffy's really confused me, but then I started to research a bit more on sunlight and moonlight, and the pieces started to come together. Now, sunlight is a mixture of all different colors, and as one becomes white light, and as it enters Earth's atmosphere, the light is filtered and it appears to us as yellow. But moonlight, however, reflects sunlight from the moon's surface, and moonlight is only white. This raises the biggest question yet: what will Luffy look like when he goes into Gear 5 during the day? And more importantly, although Luffy says that he's at his peak, will he get stronger under actual sunlight? The answer is simple, and it's yes. Now, I want to dive more into this whole thing between the sun versus the moon, and I want to piggyback off of a great video by my buddy Parvision. The sun and moon aren't opposites of one another, but rather a compatible pair, which is why I feel like Blackbeard's devil fruit can't be something moon related, since the sun and moon are harmonious with one another, and Blackbeard is very much the opposite of Luffy. And funnily enough, like Parvision explained in his video, the exact opposite to the sun is a black hole. And seeing how Blackbeard's devil fruit is not only the Yami Yami no Mi, but he also has an attack named Black Hole. With the powers of Blackbeard's devil fruit being able to nullify a devil fruit, it will be the perfect test for Luffy, as we already saw a mini preview in Impel Down, and not to mention the final battle in Wano vs Kaido. With Luffy awakening his devil fruit, Kaido gives him a swift reminder that Haki is the most important tool, and if used skillfully enough, only Haki is needed to conquer the seas. And with Luffy combining his new awakened devil fruit with Ryo, Kaido was sent straight into Wano's crust and into lava. The best part is, this fight between Luffy and Kaido isn't the only part of Wano that foreshadows Luffy versus Blackbeard, and how Luffy needs to elevate himself even further in Gear 5 in order to defeat Blackbeard. Do you guys remember the most important quote in all of Wano? That's right, the prophecy Toki had made right before her death. We all know about the 9 shadows and how it foreshadowed Momo's return as Shogun, but let's take a look at the other lines as well. You are the moon, unaware of the dawn. Now, if we take a look at this line directly, we could easily relate the moon here to be Luffy, who is unaware of the dawn, or his next stage is Nika, as he called Gear 5 his peak right after he was revived. But if it was nighttime in his fight against Kaido, the sun god transformation can't possibly be at its peak, so Luffy is quite literally unaware of the dawn. Alright, now let's dive into another piece of foreshadowing of Luffy's next stage, and that's with the lyrics of 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚒𝚑𝚝. As of right now, we've already seen a part of 𝙲𝚘𝚎's lyrics directly foreshadowing the events of Luffy awakening his devil fruit. Now comes a storm through the far off sky. Now the waves are dancing, beat upon the drums. If you lose your nerve, this breath could be your last, but if you hold on, the morning sun will rise. We all saw these lines come into play, and one could say that it all came in the span of one chapter, where we see Luffy start to smile and Zunisha declared Joy Boy had returned. So with this, we can see a clear distinction that 𝙲𝚘𝚎 isn't just any song, but actually a huge story that will unfold in the future. And for a song that has been sung since almost the beginning of One Piece, I'm sure Oda has kept the lyrics of this song in mind while creating the story, so we must also pay attention to it for future arcs as well. Now let's take a look at the next verse in 𝙲𝚘𝚎, and you're definitely gonna want to pay attention to this one. Going to deliver 𝙲𝚘𝚎. Today and tomorrow are dreams through the night. Waving our goodbyes, we'll never meet again. But don't look so down, for tomorrow night the moon will also rise. Now obviously in the lyrics we get an emphasis on dreams and goodbyes, but I want to focus on one thing, and that's the moon. Even in 𝙲𝚘𝚎, the sun and moon are seen as things to look forward to, concepts of happiness and joy, and this is why I am leaning towards anything moon related in One Piece to be an ally rather than a threat. Alright, now I know what you're thinking. There's some evidence here, but nothing to really draw out the true significance of sunlight for Luffy. How would that change him in the story? Well, you bring me to my last and most important point, and it all starts with one promise. And that promise is the same one Joy Boy made to the previous Poseidon of Fishman Island. Now, in order to understand what this promise between Joy Boy and Poseidon could be, we must understand two things about Fishman Island. One, we must understand the entire poneglyph Joy Boy left behind, which was the whole apology to the previous Poseidon. And two, we have to understand the current makeup and structure of Fishman Island. Now, in Fishman Island, there were originally two poneglyphs left behind, one being the road poneglyph and the other one being Joy Boy's apology. Now, Joy Boy's apology is unclear because of a broken promise, but it's clear that there will one day be a person who keeps the promise instead of Joy Boy. But the promise itself is quite important, and this is where Fishman Island's structure comes into play. Fishman Island is known to use the tree Eve in order to produce sunlight, and because of this, Fishman Island was created directly underneath, because it was the only place in the ocean where the sunlight could reach. But we must remember one important thing, and that's the main goal of Fishman Island, to be recognized as equals in the eyes of the world. But with the prophecy of Luffy destroying Fishman Island, the only way for all fishmen to go is up, which is how they'll come up to the surface and experience true sunlight because of Luffy. And this is where the promise between Joy Boy and Poseidon comes in. Joy Boy promised the previous Poseidon to bring all fishmen up to the surface and be under real sunlight, but as sun god Nika, he couldn't awaken further in the sun and failed to keep his promise. But with Luffy, he will be able to attempt and succeed at what Joy Boy couldn't, and by being a true sun god, he's able to bring true sunlight to everyone, including fishmen. Hell, an even bigger hint that the sun itself is a huge symbol for all fishmen is the all fishmen pirate crew, the Sun Pirates. Just something to think about. One Piece has now dramatically shifted as we get to see the final stage of Luffy's true power as Sun God Nika. But by succeeding against Kaido under the moon, Luffy has succeeded in his first step as the new Joy Boy. But in order to keep succeeding, he must prevail where the original Joy Boy did as well, and where Joy Boy also failed. Whether that be with Fishman Island, Elbaf, or even against the epitome of darkness in Blackbeard. Luffy's final steps in One Piece will be guided by the sun, and in order for Luffy to shine his true power onto the world, he'll need to figure out how to conquer and befriend the sun. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you want to see more theories, reviews, or any other form of One Piece content, please be sure to subscribe. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and as always, take care.